that the Nephilim are in now. Not all the Nephilim. There are multiple types of Nephilim that I'm not going to go into in detail because I strongly believe that people should stop being lazy. There's a supernatural playlist with about 15 or 16 videos on it. It's called Giants and the Nephilim. Watch them from the first one I made. Don't start watching them from last video. I put them in order. So just click the first one, watch it, move on, and you will fully understand this topic because I was in it for several months, for months and months and months in 2021. When that wand hits you, it's going to flash freeze you like a kind of fish. The Nephilim, this is the original Nephilim. This is the Nephilim who are as old as from the flood. I'm not talking about the good time ones that are hybrids now, that are crawling around and women are birthing them at birthing farms or anything like that. I'm talking about OG, original Clash of the Titans, age of the Greeks, age of the Romans, Noah's flood. That generation and after that, for there were giants in those days and after that, those guys, Jesus, thank you. When God decided that the sin that was in the earth, the iniquity of the fallen angels, them coming down and sleeping with women, you can find that in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 to 4. Okay. When they came and they mated with women, they gave birth to what the Bible calls mighty men. Mighty men. These are people that supersede natural human abilities. They did not come out of their mother's wombs as giants. They came out as infants. Yes, they would have been a bigger pregnancy than normal. They would have been a larger pregnancy than normal. But when the woman births the child, it's just a child. The signs of the mighty men, the signs of the Nephilim will begin to show in how fast the child grows. The child is 6 months old, but he's walking and running and he's already 3 feet tall. 3 feet tall is half of a normal adult. If a normal adult male is 6 feet. At 6 months, no infant is supposed to be 3 feet tall. The mightiness in them will then begin to show in their smarts, their intelligence. They're also very cunning. They also have superior eyesight, superior hearing, superior smell and taste. They usually will consume far more than the average person. Supernaturally strong. Some of them born looking like a goat. The child will come out and look exactly like something out of Greek mythology. And the Lord says that in the end times we will also see it. I've prophesied that here, that in the end times, it will not just be normal looking baby Nephilim that grow up and look really good. God says that horrible accidents are going to be birthed and the doctors are going to be shaking when they bring out what you, the woman who was unwise and who you mated with, what you will bring out. He said that there will be horrific sights seen in the birthing chambers. So the Nephilim would come out and the Nephilim would begin to grow and grow and grow. And then sometimes some of them are very tall. Some of them would come out exactly man-sized, exceptionally beautiful. And it's just like bringing out either one or other characteristic of a mother or father. If someone is Filipino and someone is black, then the baby's usually going to come with blended skin, but then the hair is anyone's guess. The eyes are anyone's guess. It's either going to favor mom or dad. The features are actually going to look more Afrocentric if dad's genes are stronger, or if mom, the Filipino, is stronger, then more Asian genes will come out. So some Nephilim used to come out looking just strange. They would come out looking just strange. And then some of them will come out looking perfectly handsome and beautiful, carrying the angelic side. And then because they would interbreed among themselves, and also because they started abusing the animals of the earth, they started abusing the fish of the earth, they started abusing the birds and sinning against these animals. It says in the book of Enoch, this is when you started getting the blended hybrid Nephilim in there. Your goat, your pig man, your goat man, your dog man, because they were so wicked on the inside. And the reason for that is because immediately out of the presence of God, all righteousness leaves you. It's not a question. All goodness, all holiness, all righteousness immediately depart, and the heart becomes depraved and can do anything. Anything that we as humans can conceive of as wickedness, and far beyond that, because they are Satan's creation. And so with that in mind, You are now understanding what God is saying, that a wands are carried by usually the female members of the Nephilim class, okay? Wands are carried by that class that move in high magic. There's low magic. Low magic will be done by a troll. Low magic is done by a gnome. High magic will be done by elves. High magic can be done by female Nephilim, these snow queens and the rest of that. And this particular branch, called a snow queen, is able to use her own power coming out of her, the power of cold, to freeze people. But also the Lord just said to me now, says you will be struck with a wand. When he says you, he's not necessarily talking to you out there that want to save your life. He's simply listing the manner by which people will die. God can be sometimes very clinical. And the reason that God is very clinical is because facts are facts. People have this sentimentality that crowds their brain and their thinking. And then they think God is like that. But I've always told you, God is not like that. And every true child of God that spends time in God's presence knows he's not like that. The fact that our Father loves us doesn't mean that he's dull. And too much emotion makes people overly dull. Too much emotion makes people actually so presumptuous. I talk about God and then they just say that doesn't sound like God. What do you know about God? What do you know about him? What position are you in to say that doesn't sound like him? When was the last time he talked to you about anything of material truth, material worth? The things I'm talking about will affect millions and millions of people worldwide. How great is my frustration to have gone through the entire Nephilim series for almost 6 months. And then I cast my eye to Kenya and the Nephilim. Then they have made the Nephilim a sensation. Every time I see a Kenyan TikTok, I immediately block it off my live stream. And still people can't stop tagging me in it. The Nephilim are walking among the Kenyans, and the Kenyans are so unwise that they are making them celebrities. And God said this when I was prophesying years ago. He said, my daughter, you will see how much they love the devil and his workers. You will see how much they hate me and how much they love Satan and Satan's seed. They've turned him into a celebrity, sewn him a whole brand new wardrobe, made him handmade shoes, and are now taking him around the school children like Michael Jackson. And the children are screaming and clapping and happy to see Bradley, a living Nephilim. Who told them to their face, oh, there are more of them where I come from? Back to the wand. High magic is powerful magic. It's magic that can affect the environment around a human being. It can affect the air. It can affect the soil. It can affect an area. Europeans, you shouldn't actually be staring at me with any confusion because you have all the Grimm's fairy tales. And Americans, you should also be quite at peace because all your children were raised up to look at things like Fantasia. Fantasia, nothing but the first 1 hour animated magic short with Mickey Mouse moving the brooms and moving the buckets, I think it is, and doing all kinds of things with wands. They can move inanimate objects. They can make inanimate objects come to life. Cinderella is the proof of this. The pumpkin turned into her ride, her Cadillac Escalade for the night. The rats turned into the footmen who could move about even though they could not speak because rats don't have the faculty of speech. That wand brought life into dead things. If it can bring life into dead things, it can take it out. The Lord is saying that this government, I am saying it here on the internet. I'm an adult, I'm lucid, I'm in my right mind, and no one can hear me speak and say, oh, she's confusing and she's not quite herself. I fully am. The difference is I don't have any shame when it comes to God. No shame at all. I set aside mother, father, family, reputation. I set it all on fire for my God. When that thing hits you, it will stop the heart.